that it just attracts attention.
Can you tell me about the moment while you were there, the experience when you took that picture?
She's, what is she, 93, 89, and her daughter drove her out to this little area. We wanted something with the North Dakota background in it. So we had a lawn chair, and this is a buffalo robe. They don't say blanket and they don't say skin, they say robe, because it shows respect for the buffalo. So we set it up, and we just said, sit down, and she sat, and I said, cross your hands, and she crossed. And I took a half a dozen photographs. All these other pictures are one shots each, because I'm working with that camera, and I'm working under such critical conditions that you don't have time to take 15 pictures of each person. So all these images are just one shot each. This one there were 2 or 3. As these people come in front of the camera and we're moving and we're taking other photographs. But this one I took about a half a dozen shots, and I just loved the way it looked in the camera, and when I saw it I just knew it was going to be a fabulous photograph. So that was one of the first ones and one of the most impressive ones. Absolutely love because of the lighting on it, and the 3 little girls, the Pony Eye girls, were fabulous.
And one more question, why Native American?
It's something I've always wanted to do. And when I quit the business 2 years ago, I didn't want to. I had to get into digital photography. I didn't like it. I didn't like what it did. I didn't like the debasement of a 160, 70-year-old long professional of real artists behind the camera, of real photographers. Now anybody can point and shoot, and everybody, takes pictures, kind of thing. So what was the question?
The Native American subject. Yeah.
So when I quit the studio, the business, at that point I sat down and said, now that you're emotionally and financially stable, now you can play in anybody's sandbox. What do you want to do most? And this was on top of the list. So I'm going to work with them for another couple of years in this manner and develop a body of work of hopefully 400 or 500 portraits, 300-400, and then start placing them in museums and galleries.
Is it the culture, the heritage, the Native American?
There have been, since 1856, 550 some odd treaties made between the Indian nations and the American government. 550 of those have been abrogated, broken, or ignored by the U.S. government. Every single one. So you have here an indigenous body of people who are Americans from the ground up, the original home security, but these guys running around with blizzards. And you have a complete abuse by the U.S. government, and you have a lack of recognition by the population at large. So despite alcoholism, despite family abuse, despite rampant diabetes, they have a tremendous amount of cultural pride. They have a tremendous amount of history. You see the pictures of the vets who are venerated as the current day warriors, because they go off to Korea, they go off to Vietnam. One of the original code talkers from World War II, I missed by 30 seconds. I just couldn't get to him. He would have been fabulous to have. And they are so proud of America and proud of what they do for America, but they're so abused by America. So it's a one-man small effort to try to raise the human condition and public consciousness. We'll see what happens.
No, you are. I mean, I was involved, a little bit different, but art was.
Can I put it on a drive, or can I get it emailed to me? I get back over to our meetups, and then I can just shoot back over to the gym bar and do it there.
Otherwise, I just do
His first museum exhibit way back in the early 90s. We were very impressed by the level of professionalism back then, and I think the work has continued to grow in a very exciting way.
How did you originally meet?
I can't remember who introduced us, but I saw the work in some exhibition and contacted him, and we got together and planned an exhibit and to show off his talent. And back then it was wide-ranging themes. This exhibit, as you can see, is narrow in the sense this is his more recent work, his more recent interests. And I think he's doing a wonderful job, inspired by the early work of Curtis in the 19th century. He's using pretty much the same kinds of methods and doing wonderful things, and kind of updating us on the status of Native Americans. It's beautiful.
And in the backdrop of portrait photographers like Karsh and Newman, what caliber photographer is Herb?
He does everything so well. I just can't imagine that, you can mention some really big names, but in terms of his abilities, he's right there with them. I think he's one of the best photographers alive today. I really believe that. He never lets you down.
How exciting is it that he's from Cleveland?
It is, and I think hopefully his national reputation will grow and continue to grow with exhibits like this, and hopefully a show like this will travel around the country. I'm sure it will. But he's so devoted to this theme. He's so devoted to these people. I think good things are going to happen.
And the Butler is one of the more prestigious, prominent, as far as the history of the art that's come through here, and it's simply its history, the Butler Institute. How does Herbert Ashman's photos fit into that?
It's a beautiful, and it's no mistake that the works are in this gallery, because it's right off of our Western collection. So it's a beautiful complement to our painting collection that was done at the turn of the century by artists like Joseph Sharp and Alfred Burbank and other great Western artists. So this is a wonderful tie. That's the Native American 100 years ago. Here's the Native American today. It's a terrific fit.
Do you have anything else to add about his style of photography, the Butler?
I think it's what is also interesting is that he is using the old methods, using the large format camera, using the old chemistry that Curtis used. He's really kind of updating it for us, and I just think he's done a wonderful job.
All right. Thank you. And one more. How do you spell your name?
Okay, it's Louis.
Actually, it's on the door right over there.
Yeah, that's it. Zona.
Zona.
I was just curious, they have like the
You are directed.
what normally would be a sepia tone print.
Where some are warmer.
Yes, some are warmer than some are.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Just introduce yourselves, your names, and why you guys are here today. And I have to move this up close because the audio is just terrible. And if you guys want to squeeze in a little bit, there you go. All right, just quick, your names and why you're here today.
Okay, I'm Brianna Fesh.
And you guys can just look at me, just shooting the bull. And
Sergey Murray.
And how do you spell your last name?
F-E-S-H.
F-E-S-H. What was your first name?
Sergey, S-E-R-G-E-I.
S-E-R-G-E-I?
Yes.
And your first names were?
Oh, my first name's Brianna, B-R-I-A-N-A.
And
Murray's my last name.
how do you spell?
M-U-R-R-A-Y.
M-U-R-A-Y?
M-U-R-R-A-Y.
Alright, and why are you guys at the Butler today?
Our photography instructor from Lincoln Park Performing Arts Charter School brought us over to introduce us to plating printing and show us different alternative printing ways. We're both in an internship.
Alright, and how nice is it? I mean, obviously you can sit in a classroom and read about this stuff and read about it in books, look at pictures and stuff. How nice is it to come in here and talk to a photographer whose gallery is being displayed right now?
I think it's wonderful to come in and talk to him because it's like more of a learning experience than learning it out of a book. Because you can actually talk to him and ask him his process. That's what I was interested in. Because I think it's really different how you actually have to develop it on an 8x10 film. No, I've heard everything.
I think it's more of a personal learning experience. You get to physically see the work in front of you, and you also get to have a one-on-one basis talk with the person. So I think it's interesting.
All right, that's all I needed.